here and be able to speak to you a little bit. Congratulations also on the blood drive. I mean, we all know it's giving back is what makes this world, and especially this community, thrive. We and I have been blessed to be a part of this beautiful place since 1986. Even though I took a little respite from 1983 when I was drafted here, I really wasn't ready for the cold weather. So I went to Houston from University of Miami. But today, just to give you a little brief synopsis of my talk, it is about perseverance. I know Rob talked a little bit about it before, but we all will go through things in our life. The most important thing, guys and girls, is it's what you do about it. Yeah, we all set goals. We all have dreams in our life, what we want to do. But for me, growing up, as you know, I'll answer some of the questions Rob has, and the reason, to be honest with you, that I don't just go off on tangents and keep talking and do a typical speech is I still have no saliva. So I have to drink water, spray, and make sure I can get through it. But as I talk today, you'll understand that growing up in the family I did and keeping those dreams, those goals in front of me, knowing that I can do it. It's just a lot of hard work. But the bottom line is every single person in this room, you'll hear it from me a few times today. We all will go through things in our life. We all will. But it's what you do about it's what counts. And too many people in this world give up, and I just want to make sure that everybody understands that it's not always what you do, it's what you do for others also. And this is why I'm here today, because what you all have been able to do year after year, to be able to have guys like myself. I think Freddie Jackson was here before, but congratulations to you guys.
Prepared for you here, so let's start right at the start. And if you wouldn't mind talking a little bit about your younger years and your journey, your family, and the role that your mom and dad played and where you are today.
Well, I grew up in a large family. It started with my father, knowing his background. My dad was raised in an orphanage. My dad never knew his mother or father. He was a baby. They died when he was just a little one. So he was raised by nuns throughout his younger years and throughout being a teenager. And then when he left the orphanage, he went to the Navy. He served our country for a few years, and then when he got out of the Navy, he met a beautiful lady, my mother, and they decided, being Irish Catholic, that they wanted to start a family, and they wanted a large family. So they got married, and they started out with a son named Pat, and then a son named Ed, and then a son named Ray. And of course, my dad, being a steel worker and working as a machinist, he's like, okay, 3 boys, that's enough for me. But my mother's like, no way, we're going to give her one more try for a girl. So they tried one more time. They had me. So, again, my dad, 4 boys, that's fine with me. I mean, he dreamt about, teaching his sons sports. And my mother, being a stubborn, feisty Irish woman, she's like, oh no, one more try for a girl. She talked my dad into it again. They gave her one more shot. They had twin boys. So I was raised in a family of 6 boys, and all our dreams and goals growing up in Pittsburgh, and the outskirts of Pittsburgh, of course, the Steelers were my favorite team. My idol growing up was Terry Bradshaw, but my role model was my father. I saw what he went through. I saw how much he worked and how hard he worked and how hard my mother worked to make ends meet, to make sure that their 6 sons were taken care of. And it wasn't always easy, but the thing is, we had dreams. My dream was to be an NFL quarterback. Not knowing if that would ever, happen or not, but I had dreams. I worked hard. My father always would have us in the backyard throwing the football, shooting hoops, playing baseball, all those great things. But with that in the back of my mind, I came from a little small town, East Brady, Pennsylvania. There were probably, about 28 on our football team. We had 65 in our graduating class. 800 in our hometown. We didn't even have a traffic light. And the closest McDonald's was like 35 miles away, so we were way out in the country. But the thing about it was, we all wanted to be good enough to take care of mom and dad. We all set that same goal and dream. My oldest brother, Pat, played linebacker, was drafted by the Baltimore Colts, and played in the World Football League for a couple of years. But in the back of my mind, where I'm from, you're either a Pitt or a Penn State fan. And I've always been a Penn State fan. I love Joe Paterno. I wanted to go to Penn State, play quarterback there. My junior and senior year, I went to the football camp, and I thought, okay, I'm going to Penn State. Well, here it is. It's right before, I guess for me, the big question mark was, you Pitt, Penn State, what are you going to do? Where do you want to go to school? So now it's up to me to make that big decision. So that was right in front of me, not sure where I was going to go.
Now, what led you, okay, so if we can get into your college career a little bit, I know you had to overcome some adversity in that role as well, but how did you end up where you ended up there at the University of Miami?
Well, I know a lot of even seniors are trying to think of where they want to go to school at. And I mean, that's a part of your life when you're a junior in high school, you start thinking about it, you're a senior, you pretty much should have a good idea of where you want to go, where you are going to go. And as I stated a little earlier, I wanted to play at Penn State. I wanted to be the next Nittany Lion quarterback with that dream of making it to the NFL, the dream of taking care of mom and dad, being able to share with my 5 brothers what I wanted to do. So I thought, okay, I'm headed to Penn State. Well, Joe Turner called me 2 weeks before the national signing date. And if you know, and some of you young athletes, especially football players, you know that the national signing date is usually in February. Well, he called me, he said, Jim, we've already signed 2 All-State quarterbacks. But we'll give you a full scholarship still, but as a linebacker. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And he said, I'm sorry, but we've already signed 2 guys we wanted. And so I wind up signing with the University of Miami. So I go south, I go to Miami. Lou Saban came to Pennsylvania to recruit me. He was, at that time, the head coach at Miami. Well, Lou Saban was also the head coach for the Buffalo Bills. Back in the day, O.J. Simpson, when they had the great running game and all of that. So for me, I'm going to Miami because of pro-style offense. And I don't know, I mean, you can see by the video, but not much. But if you talk to your parents, they'll tell you I was not a running quarterback. I went there thinking we were going to throw the football. Did you just laugh, Matt? So I went there thinking I'm going to throw the football. Oh, I mean, get ready for the NFL. This will be perfect. I went there. And they ran the option offense. I found myself 4-string, like Rob was saying a little earlier, that it's not what I wanted, it's not why I came here. I came here, number 1, to get a degree, of course, but number 2, I wanted to play. And I knew by running the option, I was not going to play. So I was redshirted my freshman year. And going in off that year, my brother Pat heard that the University of Miami head coach, Lou Saban, was going to leave. He said, Jim, before you transfer, and I was thinking about transferring to the University of Tennessee to go to a place where they threw the football. He said, wait to find out who they bring in. So, of course, Saban leaves. A guy by the name of Howard Schnellenberger comes in. This is where it really gets interesting. Now he brings with him a quarterback coach called Earl Morrill. And if y'all have heard, and being Buffalo Bill, you had to hear Miami Dolphins, their undefeated season, 1972. Well, the quarterback there was Earl Morrill. Bob Greasy got hurt right at the beginning of the season. Earl Morrill was the guy that took him all the way through to the Super Bowl, and then Bob Greasy came back in. But he was my quarterback coach. So all of a sudden, I went from 4th-string, now I'm the backup. We're not doing very well. We're 3-5. I hardly played at all. And we're traveling to Penn State to take on the Penn State Nittany Lions, a team that told me I was not good enough to play quarterback for them. So I was going to Penn State. I was going up there because mom and dad were coming to the game. My buddies from back in my hometown were coming to the game. It was more to go there and get the chocolate chip cookies from mom, and my neighbors were coming to bring me some desserts too. And then, I know you guys don't remember, maybe some of the teachers do, but back in the day were white socks with the stripes, the yellow stripes on the top or the blue stripe. Matt, you probably remember those. That we used to love, and that was just part of it. So I thought about all those great things. So here it is. Night before, go with mom and dad and have dinner and everything, and go back and good night's sleep. Get up the next day, you know, of course, I always prepared because the old saying is you're only one play away from being a starter. And I always mentally prepared myself so well to make sure that if I ever got that chance, that I would be ready. Well, here we are, pregame meal, 4 hours before the game, Penn State, 90,000 people. I'm the backup. So I'm at pregame meal, I'm eating, all of a sudden I get a tap on my shoulder, and I turn around, it's Coach Schellenberger. And I know y'all, most of y'all don't know who that gentleman is, but he's like a drill sergeant. He has a real deep voice, and he speaks. We listen. Not one time did we ever talk in one of his meetings. When you did, you were in trouble. So that little tap on the shoulder, I turned, there he was. He said, son, I need to speak with you. I'm like, oh no. So I get up, and as I'm walking with him, I'm thinking, okay, what did I do wrong? Okay, last night I was with mom and dad. No, I didn't do anything. What did I do last week? Did I do something wrong? I'm thinking in a negative. I'm thinking I did something wrong. His wife's pulled me off. He comes over and said, son, the only words he said were, you're starting today. Get ready. What? Get ready. You deserve the opportunity. So we leave, as always said. I went to the bathroom, and I threw up for like 20 minutes. I was so nervous. We wound up, we beat them. We upset Penn State that day. We beat them 26-10. Now, I am the starting quarterback. Following week, we're taking on Alabama. Undefeated Alabama, coached by Paul Bear Bryant in Tuscaloosa, which nobody at that time ever won. Oh my, they changed the game, ABC's Wide World Sports Game of the Week to the University of Miami, quarterback by freshman sensation Jim Kelly. They go through all this thing. I was 3 for 15, 3 interceptions, and I got knocked out with a concussion in the third quarter. But that was the start of my college career. I wound up going 2-2. My first 4 starts. Remember, I went to a little small town in Pennsylvania, played in front of probably 1,000 people. My first 4 starts were against Penn State, Alabama, Notre Dame, and Florida. So that was big time welcome to NCAA football. Now, fast forward through my college days to my senior year, up for the Heisman Trophy. John Elway, Dan Marino, Herschel Walker, all those great things. You got to remember, that goal in my mind, to be able to take care of mom and dad, be able to share what I did with my 5 brothers, all still in my mind. Senior year, thinking about the NFL, thinking, wow, this dream can really come true. Third game of the season, traveling to Virginia Tech. I drop back to pass. Make a long story short, I'm outside the pocket, scrambling, trying to get to the sideline, but of course too slow to get there. So what I should have done was slide, but no. I planted my foot thinking maybe if I cut back I could score. I got blindsided by a linebacker. Totally blew up my right arm and wound up playing my last college game, and the doctor told me when I came out of surgery, I hope you study. And I said, why is that? And he said that your shoulder was so bad that we had to insert 3 metal rods into your arm, and you may never get your range of motion back. And for me, that was devastating. That was the start of a lot of things that I would be tested on by the good Lord. The good Lord was coming in my mind, and I didn't know what the plan was, but that was the first test I took. And the thing is, my dad said, don't ever let somebody tell you you can't do something. If you put your mind, your heart, your soul, and you continue to be Kelly tough, you can do this. So what I did was I put my mom and dad's picture in my locker, and I rehabbed my shoulder, but not knowing if there's a team out there that's going to take a chance on a guy who just blew out his shoulder, a quarterback, gone, right arm, 3 metal rods, what's going to happen? So now it's set, the opportunity, draft's coming, not sure if anybody's going to take that big chance, on a quarterback that's been injured.
Now that brings us to the NFL draft, and I know you were part of the widely known class of '83 quarterbacks that year. And with that draft approaching, and you mentioned a little bit of this, I don't know if everybody knows the full spectrum here, which team did you not want to play for the most?
Well, it's kind of interesting because, remember, I went to the University of Miami of Florida. So here we are draft day. And if you can visualize this, I am sitting in a big, nice, juicy recliner. And it's not like today where you see it's in Chicago. This year it's in Philadelphia. It's been in New York for so many years. They fly all the top guys into the city, like 40, 50 guys now. They fly in, they just wine and dine them, they get them ready for the big national spotlight. But when I played, they didn't have that. So here I am, on a recliner, a little TV in front of me, my mother on the right arm of the recliner, my dad on the left arm of the recliner, my agent's in the room. I'm sitting there, and that's the year John Elway said he did not want to play for the Baltimore Colts. He wanted to go somewhere else. So, of course, the Colts have the first pick in the draft. They take John Elway. Now it's the second, the fourth, the eighth pick in the draft, and I'm thinking, okay, I have no idea if they're going to be picked in the first round, second round, third round. I have no idea. At least I was able to work out prior to show them that I could still throw, because I rehabbed my shoulder to a point that was pretty good. So here I am, sitting in that recliner. First pick, fourth pick, eighth pick. Now comes, my agent turns to me and said, Jim, is there anywhere you don't want to play? I go, oh yeah. I don't want to play for the Minnesota Vikings. I don't want to play for the Green Bay Packers. And I sure don't want to play for the Buffalo Bills. So here it is. Now it's a 12th pick. Pete Rozelle gets up. And I'm sitting there saying, please, Lord, don't draft me. And it's the Bills. And I'm saying, oh no, please don't draft me. So he gets up and he said, the Buffalo Bills select first round, 12th pick overall, tight end from Notre Dame, Tony Hunter. I go, yeah! When I jumped up, I hit my mother, knocked her on the ground, and I go, Mom, I am so sorry, but I'm not going to Buffalo. And my agent turned to me and said, Jim, relax. The Bills also have the 14th pick of the first round. I'm like, oh, no. So what happens is Pete Rozelle gets up and he says, the Buffalo Bills select with the 14th pick in the first round, quarterback from the University of Miami, Jim Kelly. I cried. I literally cried, but I was devastated. I was so frustrated. I was like, no, this can't be happening. So, of course, 5 minutes later, I had to make all these calls, be on camera and everything. I went up there and said, I am so excited to be a part of the Buffalo Bills organization. We're going to turn this program around. I can't wait to get up in the city. I lied every answer I gave. But, to be honest with you, that was one of the best decisions I ever made in my life, was becoming a Buffalo Bill in 1986. I know that I went to the USFL for a couple of years, but the best decision was becoming a Bill in 1986.
Well, it seems to have worked out. This takes us into the early 90s, a time period that we are all well aware of here in the Western New York area. And the next thing I want to ask you is if you could just talk about the experience of leading the Buffalo Bills to 4 consecutive Super Bowls.
Well, now, to make a long story short, to fast forward a little bit, when I did become a Buffalo Bill, I knew what my father, his dreams were also, was for me, his son, to play in the NFL. My dad didn't want a car. My dad didn't want a house. The only thing my father wanted was a motorhome. The only reason he wanted a motorhome was he wanted to be able to travel to the Bills games. He wanted to be able to share what his son was able to do with all of his friends, all those steel workers, all those machinists, all those people in our little community that really never had anybody make it big in anything they do. My dad wanted to share that with them. So when my dad come to all the games, I remember the first game that I played was against the New York Jets. And being able to know that I finally made it, not for myself, but for my 5 brothers and my mom and dad. That was our goal as a little kid. I continue to think that. And I remember, I think it was the first or second series. And I know a lot of you probably don't know this name, but I'm calling signals out. First game of my career, Buffalo. And back then it was called Rich Stadium. And I'm calling, an audible. And one of my offensive linemen moved. Joe Klecko jumps off sides. He hits me so hard, knocks me on my back, and he's standing over me. He says, He didn't say welcome to the NFL. He looked at me and says, boy, this is not the USFL. And I looked up at him, I go, yes, sir. Because my linemen were scared. Going into that game, they were worried about Joe Flacco. That was the New York Stock Exchange. That was when, they were unbelievable. They had a heck of a defense. But, you know, of course, going there, as we all know, you as a football team, but that basketball team, I know you guys were a big part of why you guys won the prize to have somebody come in for the Buffalo Bills. But it's being able to share and take everything, bring everything together. For me, being able to know in my mind what I wanted to do for the community, what I wanted to do as far as leading the team. All of a sudden now the Bills season go through 86, 87, 88. We went to the AFC Championship game. We did not win that one, but then going to the 4 Super Bowls. But you know, for me, as I talked about the journey, the perseverance, going through tough things. Won my first Super Bowl. You know, I was a little boy in my backyard as a 10, 11, 12-year-old. I put with magic marker number 12 on my jersey, pretending in my mind that I was going to be an NFL quarterback with 2 minutes to go in the Super Bowl, lead my team down the field to win. Well, my dream of thinking about that as a little boy came true. 1990, New York Giants, playing in Super Bowl 25. I'm the quarterback, 2 minutes to go in the ball game. Never ever thought that would happen. Here it was. Pass to Andre Reed, couple draws at Thurman Thomas, James Loft and Keith McKellar. We get in field goal position, line up to kick, boom, goes wide right, we lose. And how bad you feel after a defeat like that, knowing that you worked so hard all your life to get to that point, to have you not win. And how much that hurts, and how you have to take that into the offseason, but how you, as an athlete, how you, as a man, have to learn, but move on. Don't let it hinder, don't let it hang around for a long period of time, which I never did. Whether it was an interception, whether it was a loss, I always learned from it, put it in the back of my mind, boom, gone. And to be able to rally those guys and to be one of the leaders on our football team, that we were blessed. Because we didn't just have one leader. We had like 4 or 5 really good leaders. It all started with our owner, and Ralph Wilson, and then it came down to the guy that spoke up for every game. That was Coach Marvin Levy, who is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame now. So during those times, now going to the 2nd Super Bowl, all excited, we're back again, one of our best years of Bills history, and we lose. Now you're going to hear that, you know, we didn't do it, and we don't want the Bills back. But that was motivation for our whole team to get back. And we continue to go back. We persevered. The resiliency we had to never give up. Every one of us in this room, whether it's in sports, whether it's in life, whether it's at home, will experience things that don't go the way you want it to go. Whether it's, you know, a final. Well, I really studied, but I got a C. But the thing is, you got to learn from those things. Never give up. Always try to make yourself better. And that's one of the things we did. We pulled together as a team. We knew that it was going to be hard to get back again. It was going to be hard to get there to begin with. You talk to anybody in sports nowadays, whether it's high school, college, or the NFL, to get back to that championship form. It's not easy. Football is a team sport more than any sport out there. Because in order for you to score, every person on that line is going to do their job. Everybody outside, if the ball's not coming to you, you still got to run your route. Because we're all in this together. Well, we did that 4 years in a row. No, we didn't win. I'll tell you what, that was one of the things I think pulled our team closer than ever. The perseverance that we had, the togetherness, the family atmosphere that we had. Yeah, we went through some tough times early on, but we never, ever gave up. We kept going. We kept fighting. Even though we didn't win, I would go to my grave saying, I am proud to say that I played for the Buffalo Bills.
Jim, this takes us to, we'll go on to the late 90s now. And I believe, if I have my facts correct, 2 weeks after you announced your retirement, your son Hunter was born on your birthday, February 14th. Can you talk a little bit about the role that Hunter played in your life?
Yeah, well, for me, after I announced my retirement was January 31st, 1997. And it was a very hard decision to make because I played football ever since I was a little boy. Now it's time for me to do something else. Very blessed. I have a beautiful daughter named Erin, a beautiful wife, and my wife is pregnant. 2 weeks later, on Valentine's Day, which is my birthday, my wife woke me in the early morning and said, "Jim, my water just broke." And for some of you youngins, when your water breaks, that means your baby's coming soon. So I hurried up, got everything ready to rush to the hospital. I already went through the Lamaze classes, okay, when our daughter Erin was born. So I pretty much knew what to do, how to help out, how to help, my wife get through it. So here we are in the delivery room. And I'm, being a typical, father, "Come on, push, Jill, push." And all of a sudden, "Come on, Jill, push it. It's not that tough." Just kidding, ladies, especially for all the teachers. I would never say that to my wife, especially to the lady. I would just like to mess with you a little bit. And I would get a kick in her head and probably a right hook by my wife if I ever really did say that. But for me, all I was doing, to be honest with you, is I just wanted to look right between the legs. I wanted a boy. And I thought, Valentine's Day, son born on Daddy's birthday, what more can you ask for as a father? I've been through a lot in my life already, but you know what? This is pretty cool. So, of course, my son comes out, one of the proudest daddies that you never dreamed about. I was like most fathers. I dreamt about taking my son out in the backyard and playing catch with him, with a football, playing baseball with him, going fishing, camping, and hunting. Everything my father did with his 6 sons, I dreamt about doing with my boy. And so we brought him home, and we noticed things weren't going quite the way we thought they should as far as with his health. We did so many different things. We changed his feeding. We used to drive in the car hours and hours just to try to get him to sleep, and we knew something was wrong. They first diagnosed him with cerebral palsy. And when I heard that, I was floored. It really hurt me. And then 4 months into his life, they finally diagnosed him with an illness called Krabbe leukodystrophy. And what that is, it affects the white matter in your brain. Everything we take for granted each and every day, the movement of your arms, your legs, your hearing, your sight, your swallowing, these children do not have any of those motor skills. The average life, 14 months. They pretty much told us to take him home, give him that unconditional love, and watch him pass away. And for me, I was mad. I was mad at the world. I was mad at God. I was mad at every person that came up to me and said, "Jim, you're a chosen father because you can make a difference." I didn't want to hear that. I wanted to help each child. I knew what I went through. Between below my shoulder, I know these are material things, but back then, before I came to my faith, I thought about those material things. Blow my shoulder out, losing the 4th Super Bowl, having a son born on my birthday. Now you're telling me to have a son that's going to die within 14 months? I was mad. But it didn't take me very long to realize after my wife said, "Jim, we can make a difference for others. We can do it." And I realized that my wife was right. Again, we took our son home. We gave him an unconditional love. As time went on, not very easy. It was hard, not only on my marriage, it was hard on Hunter's older sister. It was hard on Hunter's little sister, because we had a baby, a girl named Cameron also. But it was hard on my son. I watched what he went through every day of his life. In the back of my mind, yes, still hurting. But the thing is, as time went on, I remember being picked to go into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, a dream that I never had. I never dreamt about going to the Hall of Fame. I thought that was for guys like Dale Sater, Dick Butkus, Terry Bradshaw, Joe Namath, all those great, great players. I never thought that the name Jim Kelly would even be a part of that conversation. But here it was, my first year of eligibility, not knowing if that would ever come. They picked me. From that day on, in January at the Super Bowl, like 5, 6 months, 7 months later, I prayed every single night that if it was God's blessing, that my son would be there that day with me. My son never was able to run onto a football field or a basketball court or a baseball field. He never got to hear that yelling and screaming of Buffalo Bill fans like I did. But my son has done more with his short life at 8 years old that he has changed the lives of so many kids. I was there. He was there that day when I gave my speech. And within a couple years after, a short period of time after that day, my son passed away. And for me, the reason I talk about this, because as I talked about all the things, and I told you I was going to say this a few times about things we go through in our life. And there's going to be ups and downs. And another big time down for me is, and I don't always share this with everybody, but I'll share it with you today. I remember my son Hunter always loved to go to Grandma and Grandpa's house because they had a swimming pool. He loved water. We didn't have a pool where I lived. And so it was a little respite for my wife and myself. Mostly, to be honest with you, for my wife, because I was on the road a lot. So we're at home, and with our two daughters sleeping, about 5 in the morning, we get a phone call. My mother-in-law says, Jim, Hunter quit breathing, and we need to take him right now to the hospital. I go, hold on, talk to Jill. Because I knew she smacked with her mother on the phone, so she talked. Last thing I heard my wife say, don't take him there. Take him to Children's Hospital. So my wife gets off the phone, and she said, Jim, you wait here, wait for neighbors to come to watch the girls. I gotta go now. So she jumps in the car, she heads to Children's Hospital. So neighbors come, now I jump in my truck, boom, I'm heading to Children's Hospital. I sit down, I go to the emergency room, I put it in park, I run in, and I get in there and I don't see anybody. And then I saw a nurse, I said, ma'am, I said, my son Hunter, they rushed him here, he should be here. And there's like, Mr. Kelly, I don't know what you're talking about. I go, find out where my son is. And so she went back, she goes, they couldn't bring him here. They needed to take him to another hospital called, now I'm slipping on my mind where it was, but it was, remember? Where? Warsaw. I don't mean to Pastor Matt Gold, who is a pastor at Alden Community Church, is a big part of my family's life. And he knows probably just as much about my life as I do. But I said, Warsaw Hospital, where's that at? And they gave me some small directions how to get there. So I'm zipping. I'm going through these back roads and trying to get to Warsaw Hospital. And I'm speeding, but I'm behind a guy that's speeding pretty good too. So I'm staying right on his bumper. We're going all through these country roads. All of a sudden, a police officer goes by. And of course, just like we all do, look in the mirror, oh no, he's turning around. So I'm thinking, okay, he ain't gonna pull me over. He's gonna pull the guy over in front of me. He's in front of me, he was speeding, I'm just following him. He gets right on my bumper, puts the siren on. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. He's pulled me over? So I pull off the side of the road, and I'm like, no, now. And he comes up beside me and said, great, Mr. Kelly, we've been hunting for you, follow me. I'm like, wow, I can't believe this. So I get behind him, we're going through roads, and as we pull into Warsaw Hospital, they were out, a couple kids were out there, they flagged me down and said, we'll park your car for you. I go, no, it's all right, I'll park it. And they go, no, Mr. Kelly, you need to get in there now. So I put it in park, and as I'm walking towards the doors, I could see a couple doctors inside the doors. I walked through the doors, and they said, we're sorry, your son passed 5 minutes ago. That point on in my life, how that hurt, because I went to the wrong hospital, because that was the last thing I heard my wife say. And now you're going to tell me my son's gone? I hit rock bottom. That was one of the worst days of my life, because I could not be there for my son. All the things I've been through in my life, you're going to put me through this now? That was when my faith was tested. I was mad. I was mad at God. I was mad at everybody. Me and my wife, when we left there, we did not say a word to each other for the whole trip. Now, all my marriage was going the wrong way. But I'll tell you what, it didn't take me very long to realize that if I did not change my life, that I was going to lose everything. I was going to lose my son. I would never get that opportunity to see him again. I would never get that opportunity when I walked through my front door to have my two daughters look at their daddy with respect. I was doing things away from the football field and away from my home that fathers and husbands should not do. And I'm not going to go into detail, but I'll tell you what. On April 22nd, 2007, I changed my life. I decided, you know what, guys, and I'm not here to preach, but I'll tell you what pulled me through. I changed my life. And I knew that I wanted a wife that loved her husband. I wanted daughters that were going to love their daddy. I wanted a son that I know that I will see again. And I needed to change. And I did. And I knew that all those people that used to come up to me when Hunter was alive saying, you're a chosen father because you can make a difference. I get it now. I understand. But it took a lot for me to get where I was going and understand why I was challenged through all those times. But to be honest with you guys, it wasn't over yet. Yes, I changed my life. Yes, I started really doing all the things I was supposed to do. The father, the husband, all those great things. But that was just the start of what the good Lord had planned for me coming down the road.
And that leads us to what you were most recently faced with. And if you could just talk a little bit about the impact that your friends and family had on that and how they helped you through it.
We'll end on this one, then we'll take some tribute, we'll do some tribute questions, plus we'll have some questions that I think Mr. Rob had from some of the students. But yeah, the thing is, I remember when I did change and all those things and how I thought and thought back to all the things I've been through in my life. And I think every single kid in here, whether it was good or bad, remember some good experiences, some bad experiences, and what you did about them. And for me, I thought, what more can happen? I've been through it all. Between my shoulders, Super Bowls, a son, all these things, my marriage, now I know where I'm at. Thank the Lord, I just celebrated my 20th wedding anniversary. It's pretty cool. So for me, all of a sudden, you know, just like any athlete, the older you play, as long as I did, you're going to start feeling some pain. Well, of course, I hit the big 5-0, and things started really going south. My back was really hurting. My neck was hurting. I wasn't feeling good. So I went and had an MRI. And when I went in for the MRI, I said, can you do one also on my neck? My neck's not feeling very good, and I can't really sleep at night between my back. So I went in, and the surgeon comes out, or the doctor comes out, and he says, we got bad news and some more bad news. I go, no. He said, your back is really bad and you probably going to need surgery. He said, I go, what's the other bad news? He said, your neck is really bad and you probably need surgery too. So I'm thinking, what more can you take? I mean, so I wind up going in. I had 2 plates and 10 screws put in my back. 6 months later, I had double hernia surgery. Within 6 months after that, I wound up going in. I had a plate and 6 screws put in my neck. And I'm thinking, good Lord, I know I've screwed up a few times in my life. Really? But again, I'm being tested. Am I going to give up? Am I going to continue to blame God for all this? Am I going to continue to, let everybody else feel my pain? And for me, I'm going to continue. I'm going on. I'm persevering. I'm going through it. My dad brought us up to be Kelly Tough. He told us the right thing to do, how I brought my daughter Erin up, and I'll end on that one. But, and then within a year after that, diagnosed with cancer. And for me, when I was told that I had cancer, I'm not going to go through the whole protocol that we went through prior to, but when the doctor told me that I had cancer, I'm thinking, I really hurt, because after I left, I drove off a little ways, and I was brought up not to cry. 6 boys, you don't cry. And I drove probably within 3 miles. I pulled off the road and I broke down. And I broke down not for me knowing that I had cancer. I broke down because how am I going to tell my wife? How am I going to tell my 2 daughters? They've already been through it all. My wife has been through it with my son. Being able to be with him every single day of his life for 8.5 years. How am I going to tell my daughters that my oldest daughter, who watched her little brother go through so much, and watched how he suffered and how he died, and then all of a sudden my 2 daughters are going to not only lose her brother, but now they're going to lose her dad? How am I going to tell them? It wasn't easy. But they, typical mama, typical daughters, as your daddy, we're in this together. We will fight for you. We are there through the whole thing. And how that made me feel. So I go through everything, had my whole upper jaw removed, I had all my, and I know it sounds weird, but I had all my teeth and everything, even my jaw, left side of my face, all removed. And then thinking, they did an MRI after all my surgeries, and cancer-free. I'm like, thank God, cancer-free. No. Within a year after that, diagnosed, cancer came back. But it came back with a vengeance. It came back where I didn't know this until after, that they gave me less than a 10% chance of living. I didn't know that. I heard my brother tell a reporter on one of the interviews about that, and I went up to my brother and said, are you kidding me? 10% chance of living? Why didn't you tell me? He goes, the way you were fighting, and the way your wife and daughters were there for you every day, I wasn't going to tell anybody. He didn't tell anybody. Because he knew the resiliency that my family had, and my other brothers. He didn't tell anybody. He kept it to himself. Because he wanted me to continue that fight. But again, I was being tested. Am I going to give up? All these things that I've been through, are you going to give up? Or are you going to keep fighting? Are you going to be a difference maker for other people out there? Now, I travel the country. I travel. I speak to cancer institutes. I speak to foundations. I speak to high schools. I speak to a lot of different people throughout the United States, everywhere. And the key is, yeah, everybody thinks a Pro Football Hall of Fame quarterback. You got everything. Not all of us do. And the thing is, I understand why I had to go through all what I'm doing right now is because I can make a difference for others. When people tell me, and I don't speak it a lot, that their dad, their mother, their brother, their sister are going through some tough times. But when they heard me speak, when they read about how my family rallied around me, that inspires them to keep fighting and never give up. And that's why I always say, especially to the young crowd, every day, every week, you will go through things in your life. Whether it's with your brother, your sister, your mother, your father. But be an inspiration, not only for yourself, to never give up, to keep fighting, but for somebody else. When people tell me that I've been an inspiration to them, I want them to know that that inspires me to keep fighting, to never give up. Yeah, Pro Football Hall of Fame quarterback, got the light. Yeah, I do. There's a lot of other people out there that have a lot worse than I do. But I came up with a saying, and take this to heart, especially you juniors and seniors who are moving on with your life, that you're going off to college, that you can be an inspiration for others. I came up with a saying, make a difference today for someone who is fighting for their tomorrow. Because when I was in the hospital, I walked the hallway and I saw people, older people, younger people, that had it so bad. They didn't have the supporting cast that I had. They needed that inspiring word. They needed that wisdom from somebody else to get them through that particular day. My family, my wife, my 2 daughters, my 5 brothers, never once walked into my hospital room with a frown on their face. They walked in with an attitude that they were going to make my day better by their presence. I know everybody in this room probably knows somebody that's battling cancer, whether it's a sibling, whether it's your parents, whether it's a buddy's friend. Don't ever walk into a hospital room crying, looking sad. Walk in with that attitude you're going to make their day better. Your grandparents. When my kids see their grandmother, grandfather, and my dad, their other grandfather, they hug them. How are you doing today? Even though they might not be having a good day, they make their day better by their presence and their attitude. You have to be able to do that. But my high school coach continued to tell me that. You got to do it. And he was one of those guys I looked up to. So I did everything he told me to do. This year will mark the 29th year in a row. Well, 29 out of 30 years I've taken my high school football coach, my 5 brothers, well, my dad doesn't go anymore, but to the Super Bowl. I've been to the Super Bowl 29 out of the last 30 years. The only time I've ever missed when my son Hunter was sick. But I've taken my high school football coach 29 years in a row. As a matter of fact, it's very interesting, Brooke, that you said that question because I leave this Friday for Ole Miss. My nephew, who is a senior at Ole Miss, the quarterback, they play Alabama. So I leave Friday for there. And then Sunday, me and my high school football coach go to Wyoming on a bull elk hunt. I love the outdoors. I love to hunt. We're going bow hunting. So I'm going to be with my high school football coach for a whole week hunting. But he's one of the guys that inspired me. He was almost like a family member, but he is to to this day, my best friend.
J.J. Foster, your question was selected as well. Where are you, J.J.?
Hey, and I apologize. I will try to hear your question better, but it's a little side note. I just got hearing aids about 2.5 weeks ago. So this morning, trying to hustle to get on the road to head here, I go to pick up my one hearing aid to put in. I picked it up. Oh, slipped on my hand. I dropped it. Went right in my coffee. So I'm like, oh no, and I shook it off, and because they're, as you know, they're expensive. And I'm like, no, why now? So I hurried up and go, Jill. I go, I can't take them now, but you got to put this in a lot of rice. We got to dry this thing out. I can't believe I just dropped my hearing aid in my coffee. But so I heard some of the questions before, but Brooke, thank you. I heard that, but I'm going to try to listen to this next one.
Go ahead, AJ. What is your favorite memory of the Buffalo Bill? Favorite memory of the Buffalo Bill?
Thank you. Favorite memory is a Buffalo Bill. Well, number one probably was a day that I ran out on the field in 1986 against the New York Jets, because it was a dream come true for my father, my mother, and my 5 brothers, that their brother made it to the National Football League, that I was able to do all the things that I dreamt about as a little boy for my family. So that would definitely, number one. Probably at one of the things at the top also is lead my team to the first Super Bowl. And of course, I wanted to win it, not only for my family, but for the city of Buffalo. We got the most amazing fans in the country. And now we have a stadium called New Era. Hopefully this is going to be a new era. I know you saw the videos. We need some of those touchdowns come tomorrow night. We didn't get very many of them last week, but hopefully we'll get a few this way, because the Pagulas, their ownership, what they bring to the table is something I think we need. And I'm pumped for the year. We just have to stay healthy. Make sure that we keep the top players healthy. And you never know. I hope we make the playoffs, but I just hope we start winning and bring that enthusiasm. The biggest key for me is I want to see a football game in New Era Stadium in January. I know we're going to see it, in December. I want to see one in January. That means we made the playoffs. So we shall see. It's a long way. We only had one game, but I'm one of those guys. I will never, ever jump off the bandwagon. I know there's a lot of people that do, but the majority of the people here in Buffalo know what the Buffalo Bills are all about. We always cheer for our Buffalo Bills, and just hope that I know none of you guys, because my daughters are the same way, and I see these young ladies in the front. They never got to experience a playoff game. I know most of you guys were probably, the seniors were probably 1, 2 years old, so I know you don't remember them. But you ask your mom and dad about the days back in the 90s when we used to go, how crazy it was. Don't ask them what they did during those games. Hold it. That maybe is why you're here. Parents, we'll keep that to ourselves, okay? All right.
We have one more question from Jenna Ratowski. Jenna, your question was selected as well. Further back.
Why do they always have to be in the back? Why can't you guys be up here in the front?
I can help you with it. Go ahead, Jenna.
After your playing days were over, why did you decide to stay in the Western New York area?
Why did you decide to stay? After your playing days were over, why did you decide to stay in the Western New York area?
People like you guys, everybody willing. I mean, it's been amazing. I stayed probably, and I shouldn't say number 1, number 2, number 3. There's about 5 factors why I stayed. My son is laid to rest here. We go see, go to his gravesite. I pray. I think about him every day, whether I'm sitting in my tree stand or whether I'm in the stands at the Bills game or whether I'm at home. I think about my son. I can always go and talk to him there. My wife's from here. I'm also still a part of the Buffalo Bills organization. My kids love it, and I love it. I love going to the Bills games. I love cheering. I love the atmosphere. I love this time of year. Who wouldn't want to be in Western New York in the summertime? It's beautiful. You hear about all the snowbirds that leave here and go south. during the months of December, January, February. I understand that, but you probably don't know. There's a lot of people that live south and come north and come to the Great Lakes where we have. Go to Ellicottville. They have places up here that they come because it's beautiful. I love the outdoors. I love snowmobiling. I love going down to my lodge in Ellicottville and being able to do those things. But finally, the fans, the people. When I was a Buffalo Bill, how much people rallied around us, how they never gave up on us, how they continue to be there for us. And then when my son was born, how people, families rallied around the Kellys, that, you know, a little boy, what he's going through. And of course, when I was diagnosed with cancer, I lived by the 4 F's. 4 F's. Number 1 is my faith. There's no doubt I would not be here today without my faith. Number 2 is my family. I have the best family that you can ask for. You can pray for. My wife, my 2 daughters, my 5 brothers, and my dad. Number 3 is my friends. I am so blessed to have friends like Pastor Matt, like so many people that live in this community. I have a lot of really, really good friends. And number 4, the last F, is the fans. The letters, the cards, the emails I got from so many people, how they're praying for me, how they're pulling for me to be able to come out and make a difference, like I was talking today. That's why I continue to stay in Western New York. I love it. I love people like y'all. I love the school. I love everything about this area. Ready to have a little fun? What's that?
Fully inflated football.
Oh, I heard it. Oh,
Okay.
no Patriots footballs. I don't know if we can. Is there any way we can turn that light down a little bit? And can we turn the lights up a little bit, if you don't mind? You get to see this ugly bug. I don't know if you can do that. What we're going to do is I'm going to ask a question, okay? And if you know the answer, raise your hand, okay? If you don't know the answer, don't raise your hand. Because the first person that I see, I will call upon to answer the question. Now, if you get the question wrong, you owe $20 to the blood drive, okay? Then, if you get the question right, you have the opportunity to catch a football. If you catch the football, it's yours. If you drop the football, you owe $20 to the blood drive. The only reason I do that is when I used to do this about 3 years ago, when I'd ask a question, 40 people would raise their hand and about 30 of them were wrong. So now, when I do it with companies, I charge them $100. And you wouldn't believe, I mean, most of the guys that come to these places have a lot of money. You wouldn't believe what $100 will do to some guys. It will keep them from guessing. God, it's only $100. So here we go. Y'all ready for this now? Okay. Real quick, I'm going to look for the first hand. Your nickname here is Alden Bulldogs, correct? Does anybody know what your name used to be? Oh, right here, first one. Stand up. You know, back in the back with the jersey. Yes. Shh, hold on, quiet. No, black. You told me Black Cats.
Black Cats. It was Black Cats.
Was it Black Cats or Black Panthers? Cat? $20. You know what? I'll charge you 10. But since you're a lady, I'll give you an opportunity to catch a football. What do you think, guys? Yeah or no? Yeah? Well, you must be really confident. Come on out here. Freddie Jackson had pretty good hands. Can you see? Can you catch? We'll find out, right? Yeah! All right, next one. I played in the USFL. What was the name of my team? Wow, all the way in the back. Sorry, I saw his hand go first. Yes, stand up.
Houston Gamblers?
You got it, Houston Gamblers. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh! Tom Brady? That's definitely a Patriots football. Rob, can you go get that ball? He was a Steeler fan? Hey! Hey, do you have a hockey jersey on? That's why you're not a football player. $20. Everybody knows who dropped it, right? So you owe $20. I don't mean to embarrass you, bud, but you know, it is what it is. Okay. This is going to be a little, well, it shouldn't be difficult. John Elway was the first pick of the draft. I was the third pick of the NFL draft in 1983. The last quarterback taken in the 1983 draft in the first round, his name is what? Yes, stand up. Dan Marino, good job. Now, ain't no way. If you were anything like him, you would have knocked 3 people out.
That's our nose.
Oh, we got a nose tackle that can catch? All right, good job. Okay, the last one. And this is going to go out to a lady. Is there anybody in here with a birthday on Valentine's Day? Ladies. That's all right. Anybody in the room? No? Anybody with a birthday in February close to Valentine's Day from 10 to 17? February 10th and the 17th. Anybody? What's her birthday? Well, she's hiding. Do you want it or not? What are you, a Dolphin fan? When's your birthday? February 11th. Anybody closer than February 11th? No? I like it because you get an Under Armour shirt. They're great. Come on out here. I don't throw to the ladies. I hand it off and I give a big hug. God bless you. Hold it. No. So I'm pretty much done, but I was going to tell everybody what I thought about you. Is that cool? I'm done. I'm just going to talk to them now.
Yeah, go ahead.
And okay.
And then I'll announce about the autographs, and then we'll give you your gift, and then we'll
Why don't we do the gift now?
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that
Then
now.
you'll close. All right, ladies and gentlemen, just a few more things here before we excitedly shuffle back off to our classes. Real quick pointer, Jim has several appointments today, so he will not be available for autographs or photos. I, however, will be, so you can see me after today. All right. Jim, on behalf of our entire district and our entire community, we want to thank you very much for being here today to share this outstanding message with our entire student body, staff, faculty. 2 things to share with you. First, we have a signed game ball from our first victory against DePue, signed by a representative of every varsity sport here at the high school. So we want to present you with that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you again. And also, with the help of Mr. Domino and our student congress, today we held a dress down fundraiser this morning, and the proceeds from that fundraiser will be donated to the Hunter's Hope Foundation as well. So that's
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we'll let you close it out.
Finally, everybody, first of all, thank you all very much for allowing me to come here to speak to y'all. I know that I have a journey. My journey has been the ups and downs of my life. I'm 56 years old. Who knows what I have ahead of me? But I will never quit. I will never give up. I will always persevere. The thing about it is, I can't do it alone. It takes a team effort. Everybody in this room, it takes a team effort. And I just urge everybody today, really think about it. And I know some people might not hit home as much as it does others. But if you can, go out there, whether it's your grandparents, whether it's your parents. Do something special for them. Make their day better. Whether it's that smile, whether it's a hug, I don't know what it'll be. You should know in your heart how you can make somebody's day better. Might be a teacher. Who knows? But I just know through my son who is looking down on me today, and the good Lord, I know what he's preparing me for. And that's the day that I go to see my son again. But I'll tell you one thing, for everybody out there, make a difference today for someone out there that is suffering. Make their day better by your presence. Make their day better by the attitude that you have. Thank you all very much. Go Alden Boy. God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Absolutely.